Hololive, one of two dominant VTuber agencies, is losing their biggest streamer ever, and it's not even close. Wait, I know I'm wearing cat ears. I'm not a weeb, I don't watch anime, I don't watch VTubers, and even I find this fascinating, so I promise that you will too. Just give me a chance, we're gonna look at a bunch of numbers. Meowdy Market Moguls, welcome to Meowkit Mayhem. I'm Zach, your resident catboy consultant. Let's f***ing go! VTubers, or virtual tubers, are streamers just like me, but with animated personas that are puppeted around by real-life movement. So if they move their hand in real life, their character moves their hand. It's cute, it's fun, people like it for that reason. Two of the most subscribed to channels on Twitch ever are VTubers. In fact, Iron Mouse was once the record holder. And it should be noted that they've only been around for a decade. Like, this is a very relatively new form of entertainment. So when I say that VTubers are popping off, they really f***ing are. And capitalism, if you haven't heard, has a way of identifying what's working and trying to profit off of it. So immediately what ends up happening is two agencies shoot for popularity. They are called Hololive and they are called Niji-Sanji. Mind you, all of the Hololive streamers, and I think all of the Niji-Sanji ones, I only really looked into Hololive, are all on YouTube. They don't stream on Twitch. But Hololive started out with their actual streaming content in 2018, where they almost made $1 million. Great! Then they went to $12.6 million. That's not so bad. 40.1, 95.9, 143.6, 211.9. This is a growing company. They're doing quite well in terms of growth. And their parent company in 2023 goes public on the Japanese stock market. Time to stream as an anime girl and catfish all them simps. It'll make you good money. You'll learn about that in a second. And what I would like you to note is that companies like Hololive and Niji-Sanji don't see these as just streamers. These are characters and idols. They have their own personas. They have highly recognizable assets and like figures. I realize that that just sounds like a bunch of sex innuendos. I promise it wasn't intended to be, but they're very recognizable just from like their shape alone. And it should be noted, they have an incredibly thorough auditioning process. First, they have to audition in character, and then you have like multiple rounds of like formal job interviews because of course you are an employee of the company. But essentially what you end up getting promised if you end up working for Hololive as one of their content creators is they design you a character from scratch by one of the best artists in the field. And then they give you a phone for the software and basically promise you a platform where you will make a minimum of like 1 million subs over time. And then they take care of everything from the merch, the partnerships, anything else that you have to be concerned about is not yours to worry about. You probably guessed this. This shit is historically Japanese. In fact, until basically late 2020, every single debut that they had was a Japanese creator until they finally tried their hand in the English market. Why all VTubers girls? There are male VTubers, especially in Niji-Sanji, but men are lonely. Yeah. Men are lonely and they want to see a cute anime girl. So they announced in 2020 their first branch of English-speaking content creators. They announced 5 of them. They usually announce them in like bulk batches of 5. I'd like to make note that all of these were successful, but the only one that matters for this point in the story is Gawr Gura. She's a shark who is dumb, bubbly, and adorable. And look, I've been watching a lot of VTubers for this video specifically. I'm gonna be honest, she's really the only one that's spoken to me in any capacity. It's unfortunate though, because the reason that I find out about her is because she goes live and is audibly stifling tears back as she tells the world that she's retiring from Hololive.
Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you for waiting for me to return when the outside world became too much.
Bro, like, that girl is not okay. Like, this is the first introduction I had of her. I don't even see a fucking VTuber. This is a PNG on the screen. And like, my heart's breaking for this girl. That's fucking terrible. She cites disagreements with management. And it's important to note, Hololive owns the character. She will never be able to play this character or use the name again. You might have heard Ludwig's reaction to this news was, they cut LeBron in his prime. That's the equivalent. So I wanted to take a look and see exactly how true that actually is. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and give you a little bit of clarity. I don't want to get your hopes up too high. When I say that you're promised 1 million subscribers, you're promised them eventually. Like, you'll definitely get to that threshold, but it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. But that being said, I want to give you a quick look into exactly what that looks like. Let's see if you guys can notice where Gura is on this chart. I'd like to point out, she is not on this chart right now. Here she comes. Oh, there she is. Let's fucking go! Let's go! When she enters onto the chart, the highest, most subscribed to person is at 800,000. She beats out everyone for 1 million. When he says LeBron, he means LeBron. She ends up being at the fucking LA Dodgers game? Like, she ends up, like, this girl's at the Dodgers. Here she is. Are you fucking kidding me? That's batshit insane. You wanna know what's the only thing that could make this crazier, and what is in fact the real human truth? This is real, by the way. She's singing this to an audience of people who are there for a baseball game that is looking like it's going to be the third consecutive loss. They are on a losing streak right now. The Dodgers are. People's morale, except for the people who were there specifically because they wanted to see Gura, is in the fucking shitter. They couldn't be less happy with what's going on right now. And now this random fucking tiny anime girl is singing at them. But she goes ahead and sings at the top of the 7th inning and rallies the troops in such a way that they find 4 more runs and end up winning not only this game, but the fucking world championship entirely for that year. Like, I'm not gonna fucking say that that's Gura's fault, but I am going to say it might not be a coincidence. She might legitimately be the LeBron of baseball. All they needed was the fucking anime girl. That's all they needed. I saw somebody quote retweet like that video and say somebody needs to Photoshop this as like the winning cultural victory screen for Japan for Civ 6. And like, to be fair, yeah, that is what that would look like. You're telling me America's fucking pastime, so to speak, is being dominated by a tiny little shark girl? That's crazy! This girl has 4.6 million subscribers on YouTube, which makes her the biggest on the site, bar none. So let's talk about the money, because that's what's actually interesting to everybody. Who here likes money? Can we get a raise of hands? Who here likes money? Ooh, everyone loves money. I go to a random fucking stream. She's playing Balatro Pog. That's the music that I have in the background of my YouTube videos if you ever watch those. This is a random stream that's like, she publicizes that she's going to do the day of kind of thing. It's not like widely publicized. For an hour, I just press a button every single time she gets a donation. In that time, she makes, according to my rough calculations, I could have literally calculated, I felt too lazy to do so. She makes $5,000 fucking dollars in an hour. $5,000 in an hour! Including this guy who just straight up gives her $3,000 by himself. Bro could not have gotten those feed pics. Bro could not have gotten her to release her actual name, as I believe that that is something that can make her terminate her clause. Let's say that she makes an average of 5,000, because there are definitely people who donate more than that, and there are hours where she has more activity from her subs. There are some hours where she has less. You know, that's just the way it goes. There is no such thing as consistency in donations from streaming. Because she is inconsistent as a streamer, she like has periods where she's very active and some periods where she just isn't really streaming at all. I take a random period of time where she is active. She comes back to streaming for a period on February 11th, 2023, and then I just choose an arbitrary date that she's done streaming. September 14th, 2023, when she has her birthday anniversary thing going on. So that's a span of 203 days. Over those 203 days, she streams for 106 hours. If she's making $5,000 over 106 hours, she is making $153,700. Now, I know that you're used to seeing Logan Paul and Rice Gum and the other fucking plebeians riding around in their super expensive cars, and you've been cultured to expect that that's what that looks like. First off, that's not the only thing that we're considering right now. But second off, this is $150,000 for 2.5 weeks of a 9-to-5 schedule. Now, for reference, I have been streaming and making content for 260 days. I started streaming on August 4th, the day after I made my account. I've been streaming very consistently since then. I am a part-time employee of chess.com. I am a full-time student, and I have streamed for almost 900 fucking hours now. Over that time, and don't get me wrong, I am very proud to be able to say that I have earned this much. I have earned $3,633.34. That's the amount that I've made in that time. I've made $633 more in almost 900 hours than this one fucking guy gave her in a second. Look, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm putting this in, like, perspective. If she were to stream for, let's say, half of the amount of time that I have on a very busy schedule, if she streamed for half of that, you know what, let's make it less than half. Let's say that she streams for less than that, 400 hours. she would be making $560,000 fucking dollars. And that's not even to mention special days like birthdays or highly promoted streams, which have way more in terms of donations. If you were cute, surely people would do the same here as well. You all are broke! What would it matter if I were cute? Like, when I say that the special days are worth more, where there's more people, here's what a retirement stream looked like. Every single green message you see in the chat is somebody giving her money. This is ethical legal rug pull territory. This is $10,000 in 8 minutes. All of this is not even to mention the fact that only 25% of Hololive's earnings are from the YouTube donations. That's not even where they make the majority of their fucking money. Look, they're slapping her on literally anything that they can fucking put a branding thing on. Anything that they can make a figure out of, they are. They're making fucking sweaters, backpacks, body pillows, plushies, a fucking watch. Like, they are a half degree away from Simpsons in its prime, where they were doing 3D chess figures. And my favorite piece of branded, like, merchandise ever, an asthma inhaler cover, that's fucking pog. And, like, of course, she's the most popular, so everything that she has sells out. Her limited edition birthday merch sold out in 10 fucking minutes. $83 a pop. She has a figure that goes live. She talks about it on her live stream. It crashes the website within a fucking hour. So what does this mean financially? According to their third quarter fiscal year 2025 financial results, they made 14,258 million yen in 9 months, or $100 million from just the merchandise. In a year, that's equal to $138 million from merch. This is 49% of their earnings. And again, you might be like, these aren't Coca-Cola numbers. These aren't Tesla numbers. Yeah, sure. But for something that literally didn't even exist as a, entity before, numbers like these are very admirable. Now, I'm going to do some rough estimation, right? This is just from my experience in the field. I don't actually have these as any sort of proof. They tell us what their general numbers are, not what their actual numbers specifically for Gura are. So I'm just going to say, let's say her numbers are 10 to 20% of all of the sales. She is their most popular, but she's not like Freddie Mercury, and it's just like the other band members from Queen. It's all of them are popular in their own right. But she is, in fact, the most popular. So let's say she's responsible for 10 to 20% of all of the sales for Hololive, right? That means that this fucking shark is making $13.8 million to $30.4 million a year in merchandise. That's fucking what? You guys are buying body pillows. That guy would buy your body pillow. If I had any proof of that, I would be fucking selling them. You better fucking believe it. This is not even to mention licensing, which is a completely separate thing. They didn't pay for the privilege of being at the Dodger Stadium. The Dodger Stadium paid for the privilege of having them there, which makes them an extra $36.2 million a year. For example, the Dodgers night, where they just had some baseball cards that were made, they had them show up on the Jumbotron, they had a drone show, and they had some jersey tees that they had made, right? This, if I were to take a general approximation for how much this night alone probably made the company, that's like $700,000 to $1.4 million that they made from this night alone. I'm not going deep into the weeds on specifically the licensing aspect of things, but it all, their ability to sell a deal is based on whether or not they have talent that is desirable to the company. Losing someone like Gura is fucking gigantic for them. That is devastating. Here's what I want to leave off on. You'll recall that I mentioned at the very start that they went public in 2023. They are funded initially by venture capital, but the money kind of dried up. The people who were privately investing were no longer as interested in continuing to invest until they saw that money was actually coming back to them. And as with many startups, that doesn't happen immediately. So they really didn't have any choice other than to either go public or to sell off the company. So they went public. And they immediately signify by doing that they are in sort of a do or die state. Now, what do? As soon as they go public, they focus on making a big studio, they focus on live events, and they increase their merchandise and global branding. Those are the things that they end up fixating on. But important to note is that Gura is actually symbolic of a bigger picture. Because since they've gone public back in 2023, they've had 7 different VTubers leave. What this paints a picture of is that there is something deeply wrong with the company. It likely isn't a coincidence when their priorities shifted from having their talent be happy to having their shareholders be happy, that things started going down the gutter. While they may have 80 other different creators, there's one thing that's for sure. It won't matter how good their merchandising happens to be if they have no one that they're capable of making merchandise of. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, do all the YouTube bullshit where you click the like, the follow, the subscribe. You've been doing this for like a decade. Let's be honest with one another. You've been on this platform for far too long, and I'm here to rescue you by giving you more content. Hooray! Write me a comment. That'd be nice. I'll read it, and then I'll think about it for probably a day or two, regardless of whether it's positive or negative. I don't have many comments, but you can change that. Hooray! If you want to be a part of the next video, have your comments be featured potentially, please feel free to join us at twitch.tv/smoothly, which is where we do this. We put out one of these basically every single week. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.